Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's my turn to share with you a taste of Torah, some words from this week's Parsha that can hopefully add some meaning and some insight to your experience of Shabbat. Parshat Bo is a dramatic one. We've been building up to it for a couple of weeks with the listing of the plagues, and it's within Parshat Bo that we have the 10th plague, Makat Bechorot, the killing of the firstborn that finally and irrevocably changes Pharaoh's heart to setting us free. I was teaching a class on Shemot, Exodus, to some students a couple of years ago, and one of them asked a really thoughtful and wonderful question, and that is when God is explaining about the impact of the death of the firstborn, the language that is used is this: Umeit kol bechor be'eretz Mitzrayim, every firstborn in Egypt will die. Mibchor paro hayoshev al kiso, the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne. Ad bechor av shivcha, even the firstborn of the servants. Asher achar harechayim, v'chol bechor behima, and every firstborn of the animal. The cattle also would lose their firstborn. So the very perceptive question is, way back in the previous parsha, the 5th plague, the plague of Dever or pestilence, the Torah is very clear to suggest that that plague had wiped out all of the cattle of Egypt. So if all of the cattle of Egypt are gone, what are left over to suffer Makat Bechorot? A very perceptive question, only comes out of a close reading. And another one of the students in the class offered an answer that I will never ever forget, because I really thought it was wise and quite brilliant. The answer was this: the 5th plague originally intended to eliminate all of the cattle of Egypt. God had planned to wreak such destruction, but God held back. God restrained God's power. While God had to resort to violence to pursue a lofty goal of Israelite freedom, God chose not to put all of God's power out there, exhibited restraint, made sure he wouldn't wield all of the power in his hands. And some of those cattle that should have been killed in the 5th plague were still there by the 10th plague. Message to us is eminently applicable. Someone who rules with brutality could not possibly hope to engender true loyalty amongst his or her subjects. And God is trying to set God's self up not only as having dominion over the Egyptians, but to be in relationship with us, because after all, God's going to meet us at Sinai in a few chapters. By holding back, God exhibits to the Israelites that God is a ruler unlike Pharaoh, a ruler who understands that at times the greatest use of one's power is in restraining it. And when compassion infiltrates our most zealous of moments, our most violent of urges, then we know we are emulating El Malei Rachamim, the God of mercy. We have an opportunity to learn from this insight every day. And this Shabbat, I encourage you to identify at least one moment where you can temper your urge to yell, your urge to lash out, your urge to exert power and subdue, by holding back, by staying within yourself, and allowing a more compassionate self to dominate. Shabbat Shalom.